Delegation equals maturation. Number 89. Welcome back. Today, we'll be looking at the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke to see how Jesus developed his disciples as leaders by rapidly delegating authority and responsibility. So let's get started. Matthew 10 verses 1 to 8, Mark 6 verse 7, Luke 9 verses 1 to 2. And calling his 12 disciples to him, Jesus gave them power and authority over all demons, unclean spirits, so that they could drive them out in power to heal every disease and sickness. And he sent them out 2 by 2 to proclaim the kingdom of God and to heal the sick. These are the names of the 12 apostles. First Simon, called Peter, and his brother Andrew. James son of Zebedee, and his brother John. Philip and Bartholomew. Thomas and Matthew the tax collector. James son of Alphaeus, and Thaddeus. Simon the Zealot, and Judas Iscariot, who betrayed Jesus. These 12 Jesus sent out with the following instructions. Do not go onto the road of the Gentiles or enter any town of the Samaritans. Go rather to the lost sheep of Israel. As you go, preach this message. The kingdom of heaven is near. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, drive out demons. Freely you have received, freely give. My thoughts. Last time we talked about the shortage of laborers and how Jesus worked at solving that problem. But there's something else that is unique about Jesus' leadership style when it comes to developing laborers for the harvest. Jesus delegates power and authority pretty quickly. If you've been reading the Gospels for any length of time, you may have noticed that the 12 were not the most stellar group of young leaders to entrust with such a significant mission. They still want to call hellfire and brimstone on the Samaritans and figure out who among them is at the top of the pecking order. No, these guys are still very raw. But Jesus knows something about developing these fledgling laborers into the future stalwart leaders they are destined to become. He put the heavy load of responsibility on their shoulders early in the ball game. Like my friend Jeff Sunnell says, responsibility is like fertilizer helping young leaders to grow faster and stronger. Is it messy? Is it risky? You bet. But is it worth it? You better believe it. Just look at Jesus' results. My story. I once had a ministry partner ask the question, how in the world do you put up with so much mess in your ministry? My answer was simple. Delegation is messy business, but worth the cleanup. Young leaders make mistakes. They become proud or deflated at the drop of a hat, and they can over or under shepherd the flock pretty easily. And that's why most leaders don't delegate. Their motto is, kids, don't try this at home. Leave it to the professionals. But how did these professionals learn to do what they are doing in ministry? 2 ways. They either had a mentor that gave them authority and responsibility knowing there would be messes to clean up along the way. Or they had to learn on their own, mistake after mistake, making the learning process exponentially longer. Everyone is going to make mistakes and errors. The question is, are you walking with someone that you are mentoring, delegating, guiding, and coaching them in the ways of Jesus? And if they veer off the path, do you help them get back on track? It reminds me of Proverbs 14 verse 4, where no oxen are, the manger is clean, but much revenue comes by the strength of the ox. If you don't have an ox, you don't have to clean up ox poo. If you don't develop leaders, you don't have to clean up leader poo. But there is great advantage in having both an ox and leaders who can share the load with you. Our action plan. Now we'll look at some ideas on how to help us delegate authority and responsibility to those we are discipling. Answer these questions. What responsibilities do we typically associate with professional ministers that the Bible doesn't explicitly restrict to professionals? What tasks or responsibilities am I hesitant to delegate, and why? What steps can I take to build confidence in those I'm training for leadership roles? Create a list of tasks or projects you should delegate within the next 2 weeks to improve efficiency and development of those you are discipling. Effective delegation is not just about offloading tasks, but about fostering growth and maturity in those we lead. By entrusting responsibilities to others, even when it's messy, we follow Jesus' example of developing leaders who can carry forward the mission with confidence and competence.